You'll need to be careful on your approach.
Hey guys, Ben here for screenhog.co.uk, and we are going to spend a couple of minutes with Splinter Cell Blacklist. So Blacklist is the return of Sam Fisher, although as you might be able to tell from this video, he has come with a different voice. Michael Ironside is no longer voicing him, and the new voice actor, while he's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, he's just not as iconic as Michael Ironside was. He's not as cool as Michael Ironside was, and he sounds a bit more generic. So that's something I don't really like about this game. But it's a minor gripe, because really Ubisoft promised us that we were going to get a game that goes back to the days of Chaos Theory, after the pretty mediocre Double Agent and the bit of a sidestep for the franchise in Conviction, which played more like an episode of 24 than a Splinter Cell game. But this really is the best of both worlds. It's Chaos Theory in terms of the stealth, but it brings a lot of the little nice kind of gameplay upgrades and gameplay mechanics that Conviction introduced, such as the mark and execute, which you can see in the bottom right hand corner, and the sticky cover system, which you can see right now. Actually, you can stick to cover, and you can jump from point to point, make you very nimble, and it's pretty good in that respect. But other than that, it's classic Splinter Cell. You sneaking around into bases, wearing your stealth gear, and going around doing your business. So this is actually one of the optional missions in the game. The game has a fully fledged single player campaign, which is story driven, and it's actually quite long and very, very good. The levels are very varied. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But this is one of the side missions, optional side missions, which are offered by your various the members of your crew who are aboard your mobile base. And these can be played in co-op, with one of you playing as Sam Fisher and the other one playing as new Splinter Cell, or at least CIA agent cum Splinter Cell, Isaac Briggs. Now, the co-op is very reminiscent of Chaos 3, which is fantastic, because that was one of my favourite parts of that particular game. But you can play these missions solo as well if you don't have any friends to play with, and I just thought I'd go through this so I don't spoil any of the story, and I just show you a bit of the gameplay of it. As you can see, it's classic Splinter Cell. You're going around silently killing people. Now, one thing you'll notice, actually, when I killed that guy, there was points flash up at the bottom, and if you just pay attention to the next kill I do, you'll see points appearing at the bottom when I do certain things, and they'll have a little symbol next to them. Now, this game encourages 3 different types of play. There is the ghost type of play, which encourages non-lethal takedowns and just stealthing your way through things. Basically, once you leave, there should be no evidence anybody was there other than maybe a few spooked guards. And that's basically for the Splinter Cell purist, I would have thought. You go around, instead of knifing people, you knock them out, you use knockout gas and all the rest of it. It's very much the purist, Splinter Cell purist gameplay style. Now, on the other end of things, you have the assault gameplay style, which encourages people to go all out in just balls to the wall combat, taking people head on, not giving a shit. And that doesn't really work all that well. It's nice. A lot of people, when that was announced, were like, "Oh god, Splinter Cell's being turned into another shooter." It's not. Assault is very, very difficult to play outright. It's nice that the options there if things do go wrong, and with me in stealth games they inevitably do. But I honestly think you're really, really going to be making this game very difficult for yourself if you just play this game purely from an assault standpoint. Now, in the middle ground, you have the Panther style, which I'm actually playing this level through as. Now, that basically is lethal kills, but from a stealthy approach. Now, you've just noticed actually there, you can actually shout, "Come here," and get guards to peek around corners and whistle for them, which is quite nice for setting people up in certain traps. But the Panther style, yeah, is pretty good, so you can switch to it. Instead of just knocking people out, you can switch to your knife to outright kill them with melee. You can use lethal weapons, and basically it's kind of like weapons free, do what you like but don't be seen. And it's probably my favourite way to play this game ultimately, because it gives you the satisfaction of the more outright aggressive bits of killing people, as well as the really satisfying stealth in Splinter Cell. Now, there's something actually just seen on screen. Now, I've grabbed that guy. This guy is marked as with a capture signal, and occasionally in missions, high value targets will be flagged up, and if you capture them like that, basically you grab hold of them and then bag and tag them, you'll be given bonus cash at the end of the mission. Now, every time you complete a mission, you are given cash, because in between missions you go up into your Paladin airbase. It's like a giant airship that acts as your command center, and you can actually order upgrades that improve things in the fields. Like there's an upgrade, if you upgrade the cockpit, you get the radar down in the bottom left hand corner there, and if you upgrade it again, your radar becomes a wider ranging radar. You can upgrade something that points out kind of hidden collectibles in the level, like hot drops and sorry, not hot drops, dead drops, as well as laptops, so you can hack for additional cash. One of the upgrades as well flags high priority targets like him more readily, so they're easier to identify than you otherwise would necessarily. So there's a lot of upgrading. You also can upgrade loadouts and gear to go about with. So I'm using the classic Chaos Theory suit here with just your kind of basic silence pistol, although I've upgraded it with laser sighting and a sight and all the rest of it. You can also change out your goggles and what abilities they have, with them progressively getting more advanced as you go up the scale. You can take different weapons into combat. You can take different gadgets into combat now. I don't know if it'll pop up again here, but you can actually press on the D-pad when using an Xbox 360 controller, and it opens your inventory wheel where you can swap to different equipment, different weapons, and you can even choose whether your melee attacks are lethal or non-lethal.
That didn't sound good.
There was a dog in the apartment. Was.
Huh. The file says he owns a prize-winning show dog, purebred.
Time to update the file.
So if you've just seen there, they've actually introduced dogs as well. I can't remember if they were in all the Splinter Cells, but dogs are a real pain in the ass in this game. They can smell you, they can see you very, very easily, and it's always a priority to take them out, which is why I just shot that dog without a second thought. I didn't know it was a purebred when that happened, but you can't help that. It was going to rat me out. So this is one of the optional missions, and it actually takes place on a sea kind of bastion fortress lighthouse thing. I can't quite remember what exactly it is, but it takes place in England actually, and all the guards were kind of English. And one thing this game does is it travels across the globe. You'll go to America, you'll go to England, you'll go to Pakistan. It's a real globe-trotting kind of thriller, and it's very, very entertaining. The storyline itself is a bit of an odd one in that it's very engaging while it's going on, but as soon as I kind of stop playing the game, it kind of goes out of mind. It seems almost like it's on the verge of having something really poignant to say about governments operating beyond the law, but it kind of fizzles out. It never really kind of hammers home that point or takes advantage of it, so it's a bit of a shame in that regards, but it's entertaining while it lasts nonetheless. So you can see as well, as it comes back to classic Splinter Cell, using your snake cam under the door. I think in Conviction that was replaced with a mirror on the end of a knife, very low tech. Now I like Conviction, but I preferred Chaos Theory. So this game is a real nice a real nice mix of both of them in my view. I'm really enjoying it. And one thing that I very much enjoyed, which I think was missing from Conviction, was these extended periods with your night vision, because this is classic Splinter Cell. And as far as I can remember, with Conviction, you didn't really have your goggles for the vast majority of the game. I could be remembering wrong. It's a long time since I've seen it, but yeah, the Splinter Cell goggles are iconic, and you should have extended sessions in them. Something else you might be noticing about this is that the levels are very, very open in this game. There's a lot of different ways to be able to tackle the same mission. Now I think here actually I'm a bit lost trying to get through them lasers, because I don't fancy walking through them and mistiming it. One thing about these optional missions, many of them are like, if you're seeing the mission's over, so you've got to really be careful about setting alarms off and all the rest of it. The story missions are generally a lot more forgiving, but they do also have some sections where you're required to be stealthy, which is nice, because I think a lot of people's fear with this game was that it was going to be a kind of casualization, as it were, of the Splinter Cell series after Conviction kind of went down that route, to take away from its pure stealth. It's pure stealth focus and make it more action orientated. Now there are sections which are action orientated, but I don't think they're completely out of place in a game where you play a super spy who's meant to be an incredibly deadly man. Some of the situations are just more kind of storyline based and call for a bit of gunplay, and it's entertaining, and you never put the stealth to one side. It's always there. You can use stealth in the battle, in the middle of a battle, to basically establish an advantage against these superior numbers, these superior armed guards. And oh god, that even watching that back is really not fun. But yeah, stealth always comes into play, even in the more action-orientated bits.
The data taps are online and all systems are green. Your next move is to get out of there.
Quiet or noisy?
Keep it quiet and get to the dock for exfiltration.
Roger that. On the move.
Now I'm playing this game on PC, but I am using an Xbox 360 control pad, and it plays very, very nicely. The controls are very smooth and very responsive, and it's all really good. But the PC version looks pretty nice as well. The environments and lighting's all fairly nice. The character models are detailed as well, but the faces on the character models feel a little clinical, feel a little, I don't know, cold and not particularly human, and they have a strange, maybe uncanny valley quality to them. They don't quite capture the human aspect that games are starting to get the hang of now. And while the game does look generally nice, it's a bit of a mixed bag with in terms of animation and facial animation and that aspect. It's certainly not the best example of it I've seen. But on the whole, it's certainly not an ugly looking game. I am actually currently playing on ultra settings, so this is like pretty much as pretty as the game gets, I would have thought. And for the most part, it plays nicely. The frame rate's solid. I've never had any crashes or any major bugs as of yet. And yeah, it's just been a real pleasure to play, and it does feel like a return to the Chaos Theory days, which is great. And adding to that, actually, this game brings back Spies vs. Merc multiplayer, which is fantastic. I have not yet, as of now, had an opportunity to play it, but I'm very, very much looking forward to getting stuck into that. Now, because this is one of the optional levels that can be done in cooperative, it is actually quite mundane in terms of environment. The story campaign missions are far, far more detailed and far better designed, really. They're much bigger, they're more open, and they've got some fantastic set pieces involving trains and all sorts of crazy landmarks, and it's very, very good, the campaign. I'm really, really enjoying it. But really, ultimately, I think as we move to the end of this optional mission, the one thing I can say about this is that if you're a fan of Splinter Cell of old, as in Chaos Theory and Pandora Tomorrow, and even maybe as far back as the original, and you didn't outright just condemn Conviction for all the changes it brought, and you're probably going to find a lot to like here. It's a really, really solid stealth game that doesn't break the mold, but it doesn't do a lot wrong either in my eyes. And I will be doing a full review on this, so I haven't finished the game yet, and as I say, I haven't touched multiplayer at all yet, so I've got plenty more to get stuck into. But yeah, there's not a lot to complain about here, and it's a really solid stealth game. And despite Michael Ironside having left the franchise, it's hard to really say anything else about it. That's terrible. It's Splinter Cell as we know and love.
You're good to go. I'll see you on board.